Hi everyone, today let's talk about the non-farm payrolls. Then we'll go over the earnings calendar for Monday, and then we'll talk about the weekly close for Max Payne. Then we'll go over the charts, and then we'll look at my results for the day and my thoughts going into the Monday session. Don't forget to check out the Patreon. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single day that the markets are open as well as Sundays, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So looking at non-farms, they came in much higher than expectations. Expectation was 180,000, and they came in at 253,000. So big beat on jobs. Unemployment rate also beat at 3.4% versus the 3.6% expected. Hourly earnings rose 0.5% on the month, increasing 4.4% from a year ago. And we've talked about this before. Failing job growth and a rising unemployment rate are typically some of the first signs of a potential recession. And since unemployment continues to tick down and jobs continue to tick higher, it seems like we're not quite at risk for a recession yet. Looking at the chart here, you can see we stepped down pretty significantly for last month. And then here this month, almost 100,000 more jobs than the previous iteration. And then just to reiterate with the unemployment rate, the estimate was 3.6%, which was a step up from the 3.5% on the previous read. And instead of getting that, we actually got a step down. So pretty significant move in the opposite direction for unemployment. Moving over to the earnings calendar for tomorrow, I just want to highlight Berkshire Hathaway. We have PayPal after hours on Monday as well. Tyson Foods, interesting consumer staple there in the pre-market. And that's pretty much it for Monday. Not a whole lot. Lucid Motors, Palantir, a couple of those other fairly interesting companies. But the big one is Berkshire Hathaway and PayPal. Moving over to Max Payne, the closing price for stocks here, $412.34. Let's look at where that is, right here around that $412.05. You can see right in that valley where all of these puts are not making money. A couple of puts here at $415 made money, but you can see how many calls there were at $415. So we talked about that being the call wall yesterday. We weren't going higher than $415, and that ended up happening. But we did close above all of these puts and above Max Payne, causing all of those puts to end up worthless. Makes sense. And that was a pretty good close for Wall Street. Moving over to the charts, starting with the S&Ps on the hour and the 12-hour, you can see we went straight up off of this trend line. We talked about a potential pullback after these down moves. I didn't think it would be this aggressive, super aggressive on the up move off of Apple earnings, as well as the jobs report and unemployment. But huge move here. You can see on the day we were up about 1.5% on the SPY, so quite strong. And now the SPY is in this range, right? So we're below 418.12. That's our high point. The low 405.29 is my level, but we also have the 144 EMA here on the 12-hour that held up. That's currently trading at 404.44. Momentum still moving to the upside, probably looking to retest this upper bound, get above 414.69, look to retest 418.12, but overall looking sideways with no clear direction on the SPY. Moving over to the NASDAQ, a very similar thesis, bottomed at this level, rallied super aggressively, took out my 319.60 level as well as 321.82, got above these major trend lines. On the 12-hour, we really just tested them and then broke back below them, so that's interesting. The longer time frame is still a rising wedge on the 12-hour, which is also interesting. And we also talked about the possibility yesterday that where this could be a bounce, just like we saw here in a rally, tested that same trend, rallied up to the next trend. See what happens here. Clearly an interesting point. If it breaks out, there's certainly a possibility we go higher, looking up to around 326.64 or 330. That would be huge on the NASDAQ. Momentum on the 12-hour, obviously very bullish off of that candle. Hourly chart definitely overbought, so maybe we see a shorter term pullback and then we see a little bit of a rally into the mid-session and into the close. Definitely be watching this one pretty closely. Still looks like a slightly bullish trend, but this momentum is definitely fading on the longer time frame. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, you can see the Russell also rallied aggressively, also hit my 174.38 level, closed above it, testing this short-term downtrend line. See what happens here. If it holds, maybe we push up another $2 on Monday. That would be interesting. We're kind of in this wedge, so it's a key level. If it breaks down, then we could see another $4.50 to $5 of downside on the Russell. That would be interesting. Looking at the Dow, also in this kind of shorter-term downtrend, key resistance. If it breaks, watching 339.11, that breaks 343.23. Moving over to Apple and Tesla, these were the big drivers for the day. Apple earnings were pretty good. They broke above that 170.90 level. We'll have to look at the longer term timeframes in the Sunday video to see where Apple is potentially going, but overall, still very bullish. Tesla was consolidating for a couple of weeks here, going back to 20 April. It was in this zone. Now we're rallying above the 200 SMA, looking up to 177.70, and the 55 EMA sitting at 176.71, and it looks pretty bullish going into the Monday session. Moving over to consumer staples and consumer discretionary, looks like staples is putting a head and shoulders in now, so we have a left shoulder, head, right shoulder forming, bouncing off of that 55 EMA. Pretty clear level here at 76.28. This comes back up and retests 77.50 and breaks down from that level. That would be super bearish. If we even make it that high, we're at the area of highest volume, 77.14, watching this closely. Momentum definitely swinging into bullish, and if this breaks out and the trend continues, that would certainly be a possibility. Moving over to consumer discretionary here, we ended up gapping up back into this area of highest volume and resistance, right at that level, 147.37, just above my 147 level. We didn't make it all the way down to retest my 143 level, which I thought was going to happen in my video from yesterday. Ended up moving up much higher, retesting this trend line. Then we'll see what happens from here. If this breaks higher, and we start to take out some of these highs and get above my area of supply, that would be super bullish. Momentum, bullish. RSI, bullish. Moving over to stocks above their 50 and 200-day averages here. We ended up gapping up off of that 55 EMA on the daily chart. We're right at that 52.81 level, right in this consolidation of EMAs. Just above the 9, but just below the 21. If this starts to go higher here, this might end up being a little bit of a consolidation period. I thought this was a bit of a top, fake out top, and then breakdown. But with this failed breakdown at my 40 level, we might end up consolidating in this zone, certainly possible. RSI definitely looking to retest that SMA, might go a little higher here. Momentum, not very powerful right now. And we are at this major downtrend line, which I still expect to hold, but certainly it could hold in this area for a bit before we start to see that bigger breakdown. Looking at the 200-day average, we ended up getting a gap up as well, not nearly as powerful. We're still below the 9 EMA, as well as the 21, 55, and 144 EMAs. The only thing holding us up right now is that 200 SMA. Finishing up with the VIX here on the hour and the daily, you can see we waterfalled off just like stocks went much higher. But we have a little bit of a bottom here. We'll see if this holds up as a new trend line. Kind of looks very similar to these other trend lines, but it's a little bit steeper. We'll see how this plays out. If this holds and starts to break higher, then maybe we start to see a pullback on Monday. That would be interesting. Momentum is starting to look like it's rolling over here on the hourly. So same levels we've been watching, 1850 and 20 to the upside. And then looking at this daily chart, you can see the huge red bar, but it is a higher low and there's a bit of a wick here. So maybe we start to see this break up, certainly possible. If RSI holds on the SMA and goes higher, that's certainly a scenario that's possible. And it does look like the MACD EMAs here are looking to go higher. Moving over to my accounts for the day, I did okay. I definitely should have traded this better. I did not follow my rules and I wasn't watching the charts as well as I should have been. I had some stuff to do at work, so a little bit of a cop out there, but otherwise I still managed to make money on a day where the market was way out of its expected range. So I can't complain too much, but again, definitely should have done better. Definitely a lot of opportunity there today. Looking at my positions, I was a little bit nervous with this 322.50 put, but it looks like those are going to expire worthless here. We're just 3 cents above it on the bid, so these should expire worthless. I should make about another $10 on that position, which is good. My 319s, obviously those are expiring worthless. I had some 323 calls, which I got squeezed out of, and then those would have ended up worthless here at the end of day for about another $100 loss. That was super upsetting. If I had held those to expiration, I would have been in good shape, but I just didn't. So again, definitely some things I could have done better in terms of trading. Looking at puts for Monday, I have some 319s. Those are in a pretty good profit already. I also have some 320s, very small profit. And then in my IRA, I did end up selling some 321s and 2 321s here in my individual account. These are a little bit aggressive. We'll see how it plays out on Monday. If we see any kind of spike into the open, I'll probably take these off at the first sign of weakness. I just think they're a little bit aggressive and I can probably find a better position a little bit lower for Tuesday put. So maybe roll them out and down. We'll see what happens on that. And then Monday, I also have some 325 calls, 2 of them at 33 cents, small profit there. And then 318 puts for Tuesday, already at $43 profit. Honestly, probably should have taken those off and then waited for a little bit of a pullback, but overall, not terrible. You have to be bullish based on what we saw, but it does seem a little bit extended to the upside in the short term. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought of the jobs report or unemployment. Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you check out the Twitter and the Patreon and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great weekend.